Cowboys are going to survive.
All right, big win there. Dramatic win there for the Cowboys. Welcome back to NFL Total Access. Brett Lewis, Bucky Brooks, Michael Robinson. Now getting a chance to welcome Jane Slater to the program here. Jane, obviously a lot on the line here this week for the Cowboys, taking on the Commanders. Could win the NFC East with a win and go as high as number 2 or as low as number 5. What kind of bark are the Cowboys going to have here this week against the Commanders with all that's at stake?
A lot bigger dogs in that Cowboys locker room than the ones I have out there in my living room. Shout out to the FedEx guy. When I sat down with safety J-Ron Kearse this week and asked about the opportunity in front of them because of that Eagles loss to the Cardinals, he kind of smiled at me and he said, Philly's been in a slump. Let's kick them while they're down, adding, it was a great Sunday for us. But first up, the 4-12 Commanders. And before anyone overlooks this team, just remember last year, Cowboys also finishing the season up on the road at FedEx. They lost that one 26-6. Now, Kearse says when opposing teams play them, they always get their best shot. So the mentality this week is simple, according to Kearse. He says our playoffs start Sunday. We have to handle our business. The front office has also been trying to handle their business and bring them in some depth at certain positions. Today, we saw that offensive tackle/guard Lyle Collins rejoins the Cowboys. They've added him to the practice squad, as well as linebacker Damian Wilson. Now, they at least tried to go out and get Dalvin Cook. I don't know how much they were really in the sweepstakes for that, but it just shows you they realize that everything is in front of them, and as much as they want the locker room to do their part, the front office is trying to help them too.
Jane Slater, they're giving us a look at everything that is at stake here for the Cowboys. Jane, thanks very much. Go get that package. Don't want to leave that thing out on the doorstep. Okay, guys, let's take a look at what the Cowboys have done here this season against teams that have been over 500 entering the matchup or under 500. Obviously, look, you love taking care of your business against the teams you're supposed to beat, right? Yeah. And they've been almost one game under 500 against teams that were over 500. Get it? Points per game, a little bit of a differentiator there. Bucky, let's start this thing off with how important a win and a home playoff game is for this Dallas Cowboys team.
I mean, look, it's very important. Look, they're Captain Cupcakes. They beat up all the bad teams at home. You want to make sure that you have those home games. And so if you're the Dallas Cowboys, it's important to win. When you look at the numbers, look, they've won 16 in a row at the house. They have a 22-point differential when they play at home. They're almost putting 40 burgers on everybody at home this season. So it's important for them to play at home because that would give them 2, maybe 3 games at home to go to the title game. And if we're saying that this is the year for America's team to make an appearance in the Super Bowl, having home field is important to them. The number 2 seed gives them that opportunity.
I totally agree with you. They're a completely different team when they're at home. But if they're the 2 seed, that means they're going to play with the Rams. I think that's the team that they could play
7.
if it happens right now. All of these teams in the NFC can run the football. And to me, that's been the Achilles heel for the Dallas Cowboys. They cannot stop the run. We all saw what the Buffalo Bills did to them just a few weeks ago. There it is right there for 266 yards. It's because they're a little light in the pants when you talk about the second level of that defense, Marquise Bell and guys like that. So to me, they got to get the line of scrimmage right if they want to play at home. All of those things, or the teams that they're going to play, they're going to have to be able to defend the run. Now, if they get the 5 seed, they play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as it sits right now.
If the Bucs win.
If the Bucs win as it sits right now. But the Bucs, to me, that's a good matchup because they only run the ball for about 78, 80 yards a game. So it's pick your poison for the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, so a couple of different ways you can look at these potential matchups for the Dallas Cowboys. Let's take a look at where the NFC East standings sit right now. Obviously, Cowboys and Eagles sitting there with identical 11-5 records, but the winner of their games here in Week 18, Cowboys are in control based on all the tiebreakers. They win. They are NFC East champions. As for the Eagles, well, no hiding the frustration that they've been feeling for Jason Kelce, but also no hiding from the work that needs to be done, according to their Pro Bowl center.
We blew essentially home field advantage, at least for part of the playoffs, if not all of it. So yeah, it's a very frustrating game. We're just not playing good enough right now.
Yeah,
it's all there is to say. To lose a game like that late in the season stings. It does. So, but all you can do is just go back and work, man. I'm going to keep saying this because I believe it. we have great players in the building. We have great coaches. And all you can do is just keep going to work, man.
New Heights podcast there, Jason and Travis Kelce. And look, even Travis, the brother, he's like, look, yeah. Nothing much you could say there. I mean, it's been a tough road. Mike Garafolo joining us now. Mike, obviously, comments from A.J. Brown about the frustrations this team is dealing with probably describes the feeling of anyone and everyone around the Philadelphia area. What are you hearing about some of those comments and how this team is trying to figure it out?
Rhett, early in the season, we were talking about the Eagles winning games despite not having the style points. We were talking about the Eagles winning games despite A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts getting into it on the sideline. And as long as they were winning games, we were kind of saying, well, they're somehow putting all this other stuff aside, and maybe we're making too much of it, and the team and the players were kind of suggesting that we were. Well, now the losses are piling up, and now it's all about that other stuff that we were talking about. This team is now, the way that they're playing is catching up to them, and A.J. Brown now having to answer for the fact that he didn't speak to the media the other day, said he apologized to his teammates, and also said, I was raised that if you don't have anything nice to say, you don't say anything at all, which means he didn't have some nice things to say after the Eagles have been struggling, even in that win over the Giants a couple of weeks ago. And that was a locker room that, to me, and on field after the game, felt like a team that believed they had lost the game despite the fact that they had won it. So there's a lot of negative momentum in Philadelphia here. To think that they're suddenly going to flip the switch and go on a playoff run, I'm just not feeling that right now. We've seen some teams that have had some late season lulls, but they're shorter than what we're seeing with the Eagles right now. This is an extended lull. We've seen a change in defensive play caller. The offensive coordinator has been in question. I just, they'll probably win this game and get into the postseason, but does this feel like a team that's going to catch fire right now? It doesn't to me.
All right, Mike, you know what? Let me just... There's none of those dog masks back there either. Like, I don't know, we can't put those on. We can't figure that out. All right, Mike, thanks for doing your best for us right there as we take a look what Jalen Hurts has been up to here over the course of the second half of the season when things have started to come off the rails. Passing yards per game have come down. Passing yards per attempt have come down a full yard, and as has his rate. You heard Jalen Hurts talking about maybe not enough commitment, was putting himself in the focus there too. Too much frustration, according to A.J. Brown. Bottom line, it's not enough production. Mike, can we get this back for Philly?
I do think they have the elements to get it back, but I just don't see how they do it right now. And it seems like this team is trying to validate a contract. And what I mean by that, Buck, is the quarterback got paid this offseason talking about Jalen Hurts. And now they're throwing the football and leading this offense through his arm, as opposed to last year, everything started with his legs. And to me, I believe you have to build an offensive game plan every single week that starts with you leaning on the quarterback's legs, because that forces 11-on-11 football, and the strength of your team is that offensive line. The strength of your team is when you get one-on-one on the outside. You got guys like Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown that are going to win. So to me, to validate a contract, just because you played the quarterback doesn't mean you got to throw the football as much as we're seeing the Philadelphia Eagles throw the football. Now, defensively, that's a whole nother different story. I don't think the defense can't be fixed at all to me. But the real question I have is there anybody in that building to truly hold Jalen Hurts accountable for some of the things that he's done wrong this season?
Look, man, we can talk about the defense, and the defense has been bad. And the best way that we can fix their defense is to not put the defense on the field, meaning put all the pressure on the offense. To me, this is Nick Sirianni walking to the offensive meeting room and saying, look, I know we want to be a certain way, but we have to play a certain style for us to win. That means go back and look at last year's tape and look at how they dominated as a run-first team. We got to go back to that. We need to hit the magic number, 35-plus rushing attempts a game, because I've seen DeAndre Swift have big games. I've seen him go over 1,000 yards. And when they run the football, what it does is it shortens the game. It keeps the defense on the field. But it also allows Jalen Hurts to get into his sweet spot, his comfort zone, throwing off play action, RPOs, and those things. Look, get back to basics. If the Eagles go back to who they are and really, embrace their identity as a run-heavy football team, they can get back on track. It only takes one game to build some momentum going into the tournament.
Felt like we were having this conversation early on in the Nick Sirianni tenure, right? It was like, well, they're not running the ball very much, and all of a sudden they turn into a juggernaut, right? Maybe a little late for that change, but if it's part of your DNA already, just try to